Welcome to the Kill Count, where we tally up the victims in all our favorite horror movies. I'm James A. Janice, and today, we're looking at the 10th installment in the never-ending Friday the 13th series, Jason X, aka the one where Jason goes to space, released in 2001, nearly a decade after Jason went to hell in Part 9. For those of you Friday the 13th continuity purists, this must be a very frustrating streak in the series. Goes to Hell completely ignored melted down sewer Jason, and this entry glosses over the whole thing where Freddy dragged Jason and his mask into hell. Jason X was made to keep interest in the character alive while Freddy vs. Jason worked its kinks out, and they threw him in space because, you know, why not? If leprechauns, cenobites, and critters can go to space, so too can our favorite hockey mask killer. To get to space though, they also put Jason in the future, 455 years into the future to be exact.
The year is 2455.
Where there's lots of cool early 2000s technology around for him to kill people with. Speaking of which, let's get to the kills. While most of the movie takes place in 2455, Jason X begins in the near future year of 2010. There, Jason is being held for study at the Crystal Lake Research Facility and being watched over by my good friend Leo Camacho. While our heroine Rowan wants to kill off Jason for good, a greedy scientist, played by David Cronenberg, intends to keep Jason alive because he's useful.
His unique ability to regenerate lost and damaged tissue. I mean, it cries out for more research.
It's to no one's surprise when he goes to check on Jason and finds the corpse of Private Johnson instead, giving us our first kill 6 minutes in. Gotta love that name, Private Johnson. Really hope his first name was Richard. Get it? Like Dick? What follows is an action sequence in which Jason kills like 4 guys, I think? Let's see. He whacks one dude in the head, sure, that looks like it could kill him. Those helmets don't look all that thick, and Jason is a thrice over zombie by now. The next guy he grabs by the neck, and I think he uses him as a body shield, so I'll say grunt number 2 was choked and shot to death. Third grunt gets a chain wrapped around his neck, and while I think someone could survive that, if the humongoloid cook in Jason Takes Manhattan counts as a death, then I'll count this guy as dead too. And then the fourth guy there gets smacked in the face. Seems like no one else is in the room, so I'm assuming that this guy was the same dude that Jason threw the second soldier into. I'm not entirely sure, but in all honesty guys, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Cronenberg tries to run away, but gets a spear through the back instead. Truly now, the killer has become the killee. Or the killed, I guess. Killie isn't a word. The last victim in this fun little intro sequence is Sergeant Marcus. Once young and full of hope, now dead from being thrown against a wall. You used to be cool, Sarge. What happened to you, man?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you should be. Jason chases Rowan into the basement, but she shoots him into the cryogenic freezing chamber, then slams the door and starts her up. But because the door is made of cardboard, he's able to stab her in the gut, spilling freeze stuff out into the room and freezing her alongside with him. Flash forward 4.5 centuries. A bunch of Star-Lords come in and find their frozen bodies. Turns out it's a group of students and their professor on a completely random excavation mission. Also turns out there are no Canadians in the future.
What's a hockey mask?
Facial armor. Used in a sport outlawed in 2024.
One of the students, Azrael, is quite the little wiener, and he ends up knocking Jason over and getting his arm cut off, which would normally be a kill, but not in the future, where he gets it taken care of with some drugs. Drugs. The science team takes both bodies with them, leaving the desolate wasteland that Earth has become and getting back aboard their stupid-looking shuttle, which takes them up to their spaceship named Grendel in, what is that, a Beowulf reference? What are you doing, Jason X? Up there, we meet a whole plethora of people for Jason to kill, and nearly all of them have really fucking stupid names. In addition to the professor and Azrael, there's Sunarin, who seems like the nerd of nerds, mostly because he built a pretty android lady, KM, who he most definitely wants to bang.
It isn't like that.
Yeah, okay. There's also Sergeant Brodsky, leader of the military force on board, and probably the most badass character in the entire franchise. There's Adrian, the professor's star intern, and the 2 horny kids she's stuck supervising, Stony and Kinza. There's also Waylander, a student who's always down to help.
Somebody get those clothes off her. Yo, I got it.
Janessa, a student who's always down to be snarky.
How does he function with a brain that small?
Way manages.
And a bunch of other people who Jason's definitely gonna wind up killing anyway, so who really cares? Before he can though, we've gotta do a lot of plot stuff. And honestly guys, for once, I didn't mind it. I'm not gonna say this is a great movie, but I may have had the most fun watching it. The actors buy into the self-aware, scream-like camp of the film, and there are some solid, funny bits.
So what she look like? She's cute. And single. I'm so lonely.
Sure, everything looks like a Red Alert 2 era video game, but it didn't bother me how long Jason was incapacitated. While he's under the knife, the science team repairs Azrael's arm and revives Rowan using nanobots, which apparently can also fashion modesty chainmail. And although the professor gets kinky with Janessa as she tries to earn an A,
You pass!
Stony and Kinza just have regular old vanilla PG-13 sex. It's still hot enough to stir Jason awake though, who apparently uses orgasms as alarm clocks. Jason gets right to work with one of the best kills of the series. Adrian has been doing science stuff on Jason, even feeling some sympathy for his horrible face.
Oh, poor baby. No wonder you wore this thing.
But that doesn't stop Jason from revealing a very tasteful amount of underboob before grabbing her head and dunking it into a tank of liquid nitrogen. Then he takes it and smashes it against the counter, causing it to shatter all over the place. Why was an open tank of liquid nitrogen there? Who cares? That kill was awesome. After grabbing the most machete-looking tool at his disposal, he goes off in search of the horny teens who woke him up. Rowan and the others find Adrian's body and alert the ship, but when Stoney goes to open the door, he gets a machete in the gut, spraying blood all over Kinza. Then Jason drags him away around the corner for whatever reason. Since shit's going tits up, Sergeant Brodsky takes over. And even though the professor wants to keep Jason alive for financial gain, Brodsky knows the best plan of action is to blow Jason all to hell. Before Brodsky and his grunts get locked and loaded though, Jason interrupts a virtual game by slashing a CG monster's arm off. That doesn't count as a kill though. Azrael and his buddy Dallas, a guy who's played by the writer of this film, are a little confused when Jason kills them both virtually, which again is not going on the list because as Azrael points out,
that does not count as a kill.
But it does count when they turn off the game and Jason kills them both for realsies. First, he swings Azrael around and breaks his back over his knee, which is one of the most Monday Night Raw moves Jason has ever done. Not sure how that's more fatal than a severed arm, but whatever. Then he grabs Dallas's head and bashes it against the wall until it slides down with a funny squeak. Now it's time for the grunts to get to work, and this is when the movie really turns into aliens. First, Jason goes to kill Crunch, the ship's engineer who looks like the biker dad of one of my friends in middle school. What up, Jim? The grunts show up and shoot the hell out of Jason, but he somehow gets away, so they have to go hunting for him. Naturally, this enables him to kill them off one by one. First up is Sven, who gets a Metal Gear Solid treatment from Jason, getting dragged into a dark corridor and his neck broken. Way to be stealthy, Jason. No other guards were alerted. Is that a thing from the game? I don't know. Next up is Condor, who's carrying a sweet-ass weapon in reference to Doom.
Condor, you got a BFG? You're with me.
He dodges Jason's machete swing and actually puts up a halfway decent fight, so Jason rewards him with one of the most memorable kills in the movie, throwing him onto a random giant floor screw. Why is that there? Which he then slides down in a hilarious fashion. His death is topped off with a groan-worthy pun.
What's his condition?
He's screwed.
The next soldier to die, Gecko, backs into Jason and gets her throat slit. She stumbles out of the dark corners and passes out in front of another soldier, Kicker. Is this really what the writer thought future names would be like? Although I guess to be fair, there are a bunch of Khaleesi's running around nowadays. Kicker manages to shoot up Jason and subdue him with a hook long enough to get cocky over the radio. But Jason works himself free and slices him in half off screen, which is just fine because we get to see him crawl away. Or at least his upper half crawl away. I guess Kicker won't be doing any kicking no more, right? See, I can do this too. Where's my $1 million script option? Sergeant Brodsky finds the final grunt, Briggs, swinging from some weird ceiling spike chandelier thing. Honestly, that looks kind of relaxing if it wasn't for the whole impalement thing. Like, rich psychopaths probably use that thing as a form of meditation. Jason punches through a wall to grab Brodsky and stab him, but like he says,
It's gonna take more than a poke in the ribs to put down this old dog.
Jason obliges.
Yeah, that ought to do it.
But spoiler alert, he's not dead yet. I told you, Brodsky is badass, and he hasn't nearly reached full badassery yet. Just you wait. Back on this lame Star Wars prequel looking bridge, the science nerds are all destitute since they've lost their muscle. Cowboy Captain Lou comes out of hyperdrive, as he says, and prepares to dock to the larger space station Solaris. But Jason kills him before he can stick the landing with an off-screen machete slash. Now, you don't want to get blood on your console like that, Jason. That's highly sensitive equipment there. Hope you got some canned air on you. Then, guys, I don't know what to do for the kill count, because the Grendel, which is apparently made of adamantium or something, just plows through this whole fucking space station and destroys it, blowing it to pieces. And that thing looked like a small city. So I can't do anything with the numbers, but just know that Jason was responsible for the death of like a whole colony of human beings, okay? Still, Jason's much more comfortable killing on a micro scale, so in no time at all, he breaches the bridge and takes out the loathsome professor with an off-screen death after a fun line full of naivete.
You want your machete back? Shit, it's yours. Take it. Guys, it's okay. He just wanted his machete back. Whew.
Yeah, Doc, what do you think he wanted his machete back for? What are machetes even used for? Clearing shrubbery? What's it gonna do, clear some space shrubs? The rest of the movie is a standard dwindling party situation, but most of the party is actually fun to watch. For instance, all you Sunar and KM shippers finally get your wish when they have a little man-on-android makeout sesh. And Sergeant Brodsky returns after Rowan finds him, and he's gonna bring so much badassery to this movie, I promise. Just wait. While you're waiting, enjoy some body parts. Crunch and Waylander sure do when they find Lou's arm and other assorted giblets strewn about the cockpit. cockpit. Crunch asks for seconds, so Jason gives him the professor's head, showing it off like a proud kid unveiling his science fair project. Then Jason kills Crunch by slamming him a bunch of times into electrical stuff. Classic Jason. Get rid of power and kill a person at the same time. He's so efficient. This whole situation ends up being a little too much for Kinza to handle, so she freaks out, locks everyone else out of the shuttle, and attempts to pilot it away on her own. The only problem?
No, Kinza, no, the fuel lines are still attached!
Oh, that's okay. I'm sure it won't affect things that... Oh, never mind. She blew up there. Gotta give more props to the Grendel's construction team though. That thing didn't even get scratched. What is that thing made out of? We're down to just a few survivors when Jason shows up again, so what happens now?
Now basically we die.
Not so fast, Janessa. Sonarin uses his nerd powers to make some upgrades to KM, and now that she looks like a kinky sex bot, she's ready to shoot the shit out of Jason. Oh, I'm sorry, she actually shoots the ever-living shit out of him. It's a delightful sequence of fembot kickassery, and Brodsky even jumps in for a hot second. It ends with KM literally blowing Jason to pieces one by one. It's really quite enjoyable, so just here. Yeah, watch it some more. Now, I know what you're thinking. James, we just watched Jason's head explode like a watermelon at a Gallagher 2 show. Surely, he's gotta go on that list. But guys, you're forgetting one thing. Nanobots. As the survivors call another ship to come rescue them because the Grendel is finally starting to show its age, those pesky nanobots detect Jason's body and try to repair him. When there's not enough body tissue available on account of KM, blowing it all away, the nanobots make do with synthetic material, and thus we get Uber Jason. That's what his name is. It's Uber Jason. Is it ridiculous or badass? I think a little bit of both, which makes it right at home in this movie. Uber Jason's first act is to decapitate KM, who's still functional as just the head, leaving Sonarin looking like Al Snow for the rest of the movie. Then, while the rest of the survivors escape to the more stable part of the ship, Waylander sacrifices himself to blow the charges they set, separating the ship and presumably killing Jason. But obviously, he didn't kill Jason. After a moment of respite, Jason magically punches a hole into the ship, creating a vacuum into space. It rips a vent off the floor, spelling certain doom for Janessa, who makes sure to get one last quip in before she goes.
Oh, this sucks on so many levels!
She gets sucked against the grate, leaving only a few strands of Janessa meat behind. Actually, now that I look at it, that kind of looks like some bacon. The final 3.5 survivors escape into, what, another part of the ship, I guess? To wait for the rescue ship to show up and slip it to the Grendel. Brodsky goes out and does a spacewalk to fix some 2001 looking panel, and when Jason tracks everyone down, they slow him down by booting up the old VR machine and creating a virtual reality Camp Crystal Lake. The simulation even includes 2 bubbly ersatz campers interested in Jason's favorite things.
You want a beer?
Or do you want to smoke some pot?
Or we can have premarital sex.
We love premarital sex!
What follows is one of the fan base's favorite scenes, as a cut to Jason reveals him reenacting the famous sleeping bag kill from part 7, only this time doubling down on it. I know these girls are virtual creations, and I know I didn't include VR kills earlier, but these 2 are going on the list. Am I being inconsistent? Yes. Rowan and Sonarin, along with KM's head, make their way to the evacuation ship. Jason tries to follow, but Brodsky's a total badass and has a standoff with him right as the ship explodes. Jason, not getting the hint that this movie needs to end, flies through space to attack once more, but wait! Brodsky is a total badass again and intercepts him, riding him down to Earth 2 like a fucking meteorite. I told you this guy was badass. I mean, granted, this kills him in the process, but you couldn't go out in a more badass way. He's literally become a shooting star. The film ends with Jason apparently crash landing in a lake, his mask floating down to the bottom of it while some sexy teenage campers go off to investigate. Will we ever get a sequel that follows up on this? Almost definitely not. Let's do the numbers. This one's another messy entry with all the VR kills and that entire fucking city exploding, but by my count, there were 25 kills in the movie. Only 7 of them were women, with 18 of them guys, meaning this movie's second only to Manhattan for the most imbalanced fic list. At 91 minutes long, we get a kill on average every 3.64 minutes, edging out Goes to Hell for the title of most frequent kills in the series. A lot of fun kills in this movie, but the golden chainsaw definitely goes to Adrian for the frozen face smash. I don't care that Mythbusters said it was impossible, neither is using nanobots to create an Uber Jason. It was still awesome. I'll give lamest kill collectively to that group of grunts in the beginning. Honestly, not even sure if most of them should be dead, but the internet says they are, so what do I know? And that's it! Released in 2001, Jason X is a ridiculous movie, but it's very comfortable being a ridiculous movie, and that's why I enjoy it, which I understand is a controversial opinion. Next week is the ultimate showdown of Ultimate Destiny, Freddy vs. Jason. But until then, I'm James A. Janice. This has been The Kill Count. Hey guys, thanks a lot for watching The Kill Count for Jason X. Again, I want to thank Bloody Disgusting for their continual promotion of The Kill Count. In fact, if you discovered this series through Bloody Disgusting, leave a comment and let me know. I also want to thank YouTube user S. Wilkes for helping me out with a line in the script. Thanks, buddy. We're getting so close to the end of Friday the 13th, I can't wait to be done with it. But we're having fun while we do it, it's okay. Thanks a lot for watching, we'll see you next week.